This is CBC Here and Now.
We're evolving with the rules and adjusting our plans accordingly.
Marking a major anniversary during a pandemic. Could come from a ways, be allowed back for the big day?
Cocaine and $50,000 in cash.
Charges against 10 individuals for trafficking in these communities is significant.
I have all the details on the project Bonshaw coming up on Here and Now.
Windy today, much less windy tomorrow, and a pretty good looking forecast.
Good evening and welcome to Here and Now. I'm Anthony Germain. Well, if you played regatta roulette, you lost. The Royal St. John's Regatta was a no-go today, but some athletes did get on the water and they were excited about all of that wind. Able Sail NL makes sailing accessible for everyone. The group had hoped to show off some special boats on Regatta Day, but they say this was the next best thing.
We're just about to have Haley, one of our more experienced athletes, go out for a sail, which was supposed to be a demo during Regatta Day. But with Regatta canceled, we decided why stop us from having some fun and sailing anyway. One of the things that we're building with the Regatta Group, so the Kitty Regatta Group has actually got an MOU with us, and they opened up their clubhouse with welcomed arms for us to come and sail when they're not rowing. And one of the things we're building on is we love sailing when it's windy. They don't like to row when it's windy. So it makes a really great partnership. If it's a windy day, out we go and play, and if there's no wind, we don't want to be out there anyway.
The program is for people with disabilities, of all disabilities, to get out on the water and learn how to sail. We do anything from recreation to competitive. I'm in the more competitive aspect, but there's lots of people that just want to come out and give sailing a try. And it certainly gives people with disabilities, especially physical, a lot of freedom. These boats are adapted in a way that they cannot tip over. They have a very heavy keel at the bottom, which allows for no tipping, which makes it safer for athletes to head out on the water and give it a try. Able Sail just gives freedom. It gives freedom, excitement, and enjoyment, and independence, which is something that we all strive for.
Well, the wind may have kept regatta rowers away, but one popular lakeside stall wasn't going to cancel its very own long-standing tradition. In fact, the customers came to them. Volunteers with the Hindu temple still spent the day cooking and packaging meals, about 500 of them, for sold-out orders that were made last month.
Do you need bags, Auntie?
Typically every year for last 50 to 60 years, we have been having like a Hindu temple tent selling food, prepared by the community volunteers at the Quidiri Lake. However, this year, because of COVID, we knew that we won't be able to have a stall there. So we decided to do our takeout from the temple. And in a way, we thought that was a great idea because the local community who has been supporting us for many, many, many years will actually get to see our place as well, get to see our building, get to come by here.
Welcome. You have some tickets for me too. Fabulous.
This particular fundraiser is our biggest fundraiser during the year. We do many, 2 to 3 fundraisers throughout the year, but Regatta one is our largest one. Typically, 80 to 100 volunteers are involved in running the whole show, and we serve, I would say, over 2,000 people by the lake. This year is not at that same scale, but we are hoping to serve about 550 people or so. It makes us feel awesome because I tell you why I say that. I was amazed because when this fundraiser started, we were really introducing local community to Indian food. People who come for the regatta food, they still want to come to the Hindu temple stand. So it really means a lot to us, and it makes us feel very happy and gives us very positive energy.
Thank you.
Well, the regatta didn't go ahead today, and that's thanks to the strong winds that we've been seeing for most of the day today. Topped out so far at about 63 kilometers per hour in St. John's. A number of areas seeing those anywhere from 50 to 60 kilometer per hour winds. And then as we head through the night tonight, we are eventually going to start to see those winds ease. Right now, still seeing about 59 kilometers per hour in St. John's, but as we head through the overnight tonight, those winds will eventually ease. And then they're going to stay anywhere from about 20 to as much as 40 kilometers per hour through the afternoon tomorrow. So hopefully the regatta will go ahead as we head through the day tomorrow. The reason for the less winds for tomorrow is thanks to a ridge of high pressure that is dominating the weather tomorrow. We do have a few showers rolling through right now for the Beaumont Peninsula. That should move off, and we actually won't see too much in the way of weather as we head through the night tonight. We should see partly cloudy skies or even clear skies through the night. Generally seeing those temperatures in the teens. Low-lying areas may see those single digits, but it is setting the stage for a very warm day tomorrow. I'll get into all those details when I come back.
Well, thanks, Ashley. There is one new case of COVID-19 in the province today, a man in the central region in his 20s or 30s. Public Health says the case is tied to travel within Canada. That makes 6 active cases in the province, including the 2 people from Portuguese fishing boats who remain in hospital. While the border between this province and Saint-Pierre-and-Miquelon is set to open on Monday, the ferry run between the French territory and Fortune is not. Saint-Pierre-Miquelon says it's been working for weeks on a reopening plan, which includes testing, but feels as if it's been left in the dark. The territory says without official paperwork from the Canadian government, it's still unsure of the rules surrounding international travel by sea. International travelers may soon be coming back to Gander, and that's just in time for a major anniversary. This September marks 20 years, can you believe it, since the 9/11 attacks happened. 2 decades ago, some 6,500 passengers found themselves stranded in central Newfoundland, their planes forced to land in an unfamiliar place. Here now's Garrett Barry has more on the shifting public health measures and what they could mean for the big day.
For those of us that were around in the day, it seems like not very long at all since it all happened.
Hard to believe it's been 20 years since the world stopped in Gander and the town welcomed thousands.
You know, I remember the emotions, the initial emotions of the actual tragedy itself, and then being like everybody else consumed in the hectic pace of trying to deal with the situation we were dealing with here. And it was a good kind of busy. You know, it was everything you were doing was being appreciated, and you knew it was having a positive impact.
The 20th anniversary is a big one, but planning this year's commemoration has been hard.
Then, of course, along came the pandemic, and it became, our focus had to shift to pretty well entirely virtual commemoration of the event. And as the situation with the pandemic and the travel restrictions has evolved, we've been shifting on the fly to meet the current, whatever the current regulations are, what we expect them to be by September 11th.
But,
you know, as the events that happened here in 2001 will confirm that we are capable of pulling some things together on pretty short notice, on a much bigger scale than this.
The main event will be a non-denominational service at the community center, with some international visitors and international messages.
We have a choral performance being provided by a school in Miami that intended to be here for the event, but because of the uncertainty of travel availability, could not plan to be here, so they're doing a video choral performance for us. We'll have an honor guard of U.S. first responders that, again, would have been here, but because of the uncertainty of travel, will now be participating virtually.
On the morning of the 11th, the final resting place for this piece of steel will be unveiled. This is part of the World Trade Center. It was donated by New York firefighters a decade ago and has been resting inside Town Hall. But very soon, it will be part of a monument that honors that unforgettable day and this province's contribution. Garrett Barry, CBC News, Gander.
Well, today, Veterans Affairs announced its plans to keep Beaumont Hamel beautiful. Thousands of new trees are going to be planted over the next decade at the commemorative site in France. Now, officials say they won't be planting trees on the open parts of the battlefield, but pests and old age are starting to kill trees that were planted at the site when it first opened back in 1925. Well, many of those trees are related to species that are found in Newfoundland and Labrador.
It's time to take those trees down. We have mature trees coming up next to them so they can replace those alleys. Again, trying to maintain the landscape that is currently there. And then for trees that, because of climate change, have been impacted by insects or just through the nature of the conditions, we will be working to them to ensure that the next type of species that go in will be a hardy type species that can last that 60 and 70 years that we were fortunate to have with the current trees.
Well, following a 7-month investigation, 10 people on the Avalon have been charged in an RCMP drug bust. Here now's Henrika Wilhelm has more on what the police call Project Bonshaw.
Police called a press conference today to announce another drug bust.
Charges against 10 individuals for trafficking in these communities is significant, and it should be a signal to all criminals involved in the drug trade that the police will continue to work to disrupt the supply of cocaine and all illegal drugs in our communities.
10 people, ranging in age from 22 to 60, all caught in RCMP Project Bonshaw. Typically, press conferences for a police drug bust look like this. Officers laying out their catch, a show and tell of everything they've recovered. But not today. There were no drugs on the table. Police say they raided 4 homes and found $55,000 cash, cocaine and prescription pills, but wouldn't say how much of each drug they found. They'd only say the amounts were consistent with drug trafficking and that they were concentrating on catching the people involved. Homes were searched in Victoria, Harbour Grace and Western Bay between May and July. The people arrested are from those communities and Carbonear.
Although they're not directly related to an organized crime group, they do obtain their drugs from organized crime groups importing cocaine into Newfoundland and Labrador. We work on a daily basis to disrupt those who are involved and who are profiting.
According to the RCMP, the pandemic also changed the way drugs are trafficked.
We saw a drop in the supply into the province, but the demand did not lessen at all. Just like any commodity, as the supply dropped and demand stayed the same, the price of the drugs went up.
The RCMP say today's bust is part of ongoing work to keep drugs out. It's targeting dealers who are taking advantage of people with addictions issues.
That remains, and rightfully so, is a health problem. We look to target those who take advantage of those with the substance abuse disorders. So we're looking at those who specifically sell drugs to profit, and not necessarily people with disorders who might sell a little bit just to get by to the next fix. This is about those who take advantage and harm the communities.
The 10 accused share a total of 37 charges. All are expected in court at a later date. Henrika Wilhelm, CBC News, St. John's.
Somebody tried to sneak a shipment of bees to Newfoundland and Labrador, and that's a big no-no.
We don't want to bring any unwanted diseases or pests by accident.
That story coming up. Ashley, it was a breezy day, but certainly a beautiful one as well.
Yeah, a ridge of high pressure dominating the weather. Lots of sunshine this afternoon. In about the afternoon, we did see a little bit of high cloud cover move in. Let's take a look at what's on the go there. There's that ridge of high pressure I was talking about, but a little bit of a disturbance bringing some cloud cover this afternoon for most of eastern Newfoundland. And if I zoom in a little bit, you can see some showers potentially on the Beaumont Peninsula. That may have been some virga, but that has moved off, and it's going to be a fairly quiet night as we go through the night tonight. But all that sunshine leading to some beautiful temperatures this afternoon. 23 degrees in St. John. Same thing for Gander. Terra Nova topped out at 25 this afternoon. Then we do have temperatures back up into the 20s for most of Labrador, 19 for you in Lab City. As we head through the night tonight, not a whole lot on the go thanks to that ridge of high pressure. And even as we head through the day tomorrow, that will still dominate the weather for the most part. Looking at a pretty beautiful afternoon, and because of that, the winds will be significantly less for most of the province. As we get into the afternoon, though, we're going to start to see some increasing cloud as our next weather maker moves in. It's going to bring that chance of showers later on in the day as well towards the west, south, and eventually towards central as we get into the evening hours. And then as far as Labrador goes, you're going to see that chance of showers roll through as well as we get into the afternoon and evening hours for Lab West. Same thing for the north, as a little bit of a disturbance will move through for you as well. By the time we get into Friday morning, most areas should be seeing cloud cover across the island. So thanks to those much less winds for tomorrow afternoon, the regatta should be a go through the day. 25 should be the afternoon high, as well as lots of sunshine. So a sunny and warm day, which is certainly good news for those rowers out there. And the rest of the province really looking at a beautiful afternoon. Temperatures should reach the mid to high 20s through central. Same thing for the west coast. And again, that chance of showers that you see there is going to be later on in the afternoon, early evening hours. And eventually we will see those showers roll through central as well. Temperatures across the big land as well, absolutely beautiful. 25 to 27 degrees is your daytime highs. The strongest winds will be a little bit closer to that area of low pressure. So southwesterlies gusting anywhere from 40 to 60 kilometers per hour across the island. Your winds should be out of the west or southwest about 20 to 40 kilometers per hour. The other thing you're going to notice tomorrow, humidity is going to return. It's going to stay with us pretty much right through the weekend. Friday, even Saturday, looking at some pretty humid conditions. And then eventually we're going to see some colder air move in. And it looks like as we get into through Sunday and into the beginning of Monday, some cooler air will return, as does some of that drier air. So Friday, hot and humid again through the afternoon. Temperatures into the 20s, high 20s for most of central and eastern Newfoundland. A little bit cooler towards the west coast. And we're going to stick with some of that warmer air as well. Happy Valley Goose Bay, 28 degrees for you. And then back into the teens up through Nain, where you're looking at the chance of showers and about 15 degrees through the day. Saturday, looking much cooler across the big land. This is when we start to see some of that cooler air move in. 13 degrees for Cartwright. And then showers for the northern peninsula as well as southeastern Labrador. The rest of the island will likely see some showers in the morning, and then we should actually clear out as the day goes on. So plenty of sunshine as the day goes on. 24 degrees for St. John's, 24 for Corner Brook, and then again into those mid to high 20s for most of central through the day on Saturday. As we get into Sunday and even into Monday, things will start to be a little bit more unsettled. Certainly that cooler air will move in. 16 degrees it looks like as the daytime high on Monday for St. John's and eastern Newfoundland. And then for central Newfoundland, your temperatures are going to dip as well, but they should still stay in the 20s. And it's looking at this point like a mix of sun and cloud to start out the week. Western Newfoundland, significantly nicer weather, 23 degrees by the time Monday rolls around. The timing of that, going to have to keep an eye on at this point. But at this point, looking like Monday should be nice with sunshine. And then for eastern Labrador, note that temperature on Saturday, that's your morning temperature. They will drop as the day goes on and then hang around in the 20s to start off the work week next week. And then similar forecast for you in western Labrador. You may see your temperatures dip a little bit more even on Saturday into the low teens, and then by Sunday and Monday back up into the 20s. Had to share this shot with you. Stephenville, this is Port Harmon Beach. Great shot there, Elizabeth. If you have any weather photos that you would like to share with us, send them to nlphotos@cbc.ca.
Well, a shipment of bees was discovered at a post office on the Avalon Peninsula, and it raises some questions about bee purity in our province. Joining me now is beekeeper Paul Din. So Paul, what's the issue with sending bees through the mail?
It's a common practice throughout the rest of the country, but here in our province we have a very healthy bee population, and we don't want to bring any unwanted diseases or pests by accident. So there's a permit process in place with the provincial government that a person would have to go and complete in order to bring a bee or bees into the province.
Right, and this has to do with, I think, a story we've covered before in here now about the unique purity of Newfoundland bees, right?
Yes, well, Newfoundland bees have been, fortunately, there hasn't been a lot of importation. There has been some. But the bees are, to our knowledge right now, are currently very healthy. We don't have the varroa mite or tracheal mites or greater wax moth or any of these things, and we also don't have a whole slew of different diseases. So we want to be very careful, and I think a lot of people don't know that if they order bees and bring them in by mail,
right,
they may not know the status of our bees and just do it completely by innocence, you know, just say, hey, send me some bees.
Right, and all those ailments that you mentioned, I mean, these are ailments that are actually present on the mainland, right? So even if somebody just ordered them because they want to start a hobby, they might not realize what they could be getting into.
Exactly, and there's bees here. This year everyone's hives are very productive, so we have lots of bees for sale if people want to get into bees. So if they can buy them locally, avoid bringing something in from outside the province, we'd really appreciate it.
Now, as far as actually getting these bees in the mail, like, I'm kind of curious, is it bees in a bag? I mean, how are they actually shipped, and where might they come from?
They can come from anywhere. They would have initially come from anywhere in the world. They'll bring them from Australia, from New Zealand, you name it. They're shipped into Canada, and that's regulated under the Canadian Food Inspection Agency,
right,
the federal government. So it's very common where we live in a country things are being shipped all over the place. But with our province, we don't want to bring bees from outside the province, obviously, because they could actually bring a disease bee that would cause our really beautiful bees to have a problem. And our bees are the only ones in all of North America that have this healthy status, and one of 3 places in the world.
It's that island advantage that has been very useful for many reasons, not just bees over the last year.
Yeah.
One last question for you. Do we have any idea as to how prevalent this practice is? I mean, what's to stop somebody just from ordering bees?
Well, that's the reason why I wanted to raise it, is because it may be something that's happening regularly that we're not aware of. So we're hoping that the federal government and the provincial government and anyone who's interested in beekeeping will, you know, realize that don't import bees, don't bring them into the province. It could cause us to lose something very, very valuable and beautiful that we don't want to see gone.
All right, Paul, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, the provincial department responsible for bees, and that's Fisheries, Forestry and Agriculture, says it began an investigation as soon as it was notified that a package of bees was found at a post office. The department encourages beekeepers to report any knowledge of illegal bee importation. Well, sprinter Andre de Grasse is savoring a golden moment on the track earlier today with a win in the men's 200-meter race.
And Bednarik side by side. Now Knighton going hard. And inside, Noah Lyles has popped up. Here comes de Grasse, accelerating. De Grasse at the line. He's got the gold medal.
The finish. The 26-year-old from Markham, Ontario has competed in 5 events, over 2 Olympics, and won a medal in every event. But this is the first gold. He finished with a bronze medal in the 100-meter event earlier this week, and he has a chance to pick up more Olympic hardware at these games. That's in the upcoming 4x100-meter men's relay event. Now, those relay events, always very exciting. Actually, some very interesting Olympic matches and games coming up as the games wind down. Well, it's been great having you, this sort of Olympic edition of Here and Now. We'll see you again tomorrow.